Hello, my favorite English language learners. It is your favorite English teacher here, Amy Joy, and in today's video, I'm going to tell you all about English names. I've had some students ask me in the past, how do you know if a name is a first name or a last name? Or what do university professors prefer to be called? So I'm going to answer all of your questions in this video. I'm going to start off by telling you a little bit about my name and how you know if a name is a first name or a last name. Then I will tell you a little bit about what professors in the US prefer to be called, and then in the end, I will tell you about some unisex names that you should be aware of so that you can use the right pronouns when referring to people with these names. So let's get started. All right, so first of all, my full name is Amy Joy Rovirosa. My first name is Amy, my middle name is Joy, and my last name is Rovirosa. For a long time, I have gone by the name Amy Joy simply because there are a lot of Amy's in the US. When I was in 4th grade, there were 4 Amy's in my class, and instead of everyone calling me by my first and my last name, they just decided to call me Amy Joy because it was short and easier to say. Even today, I have a colleague that I work with named Amy, so people still call me Amy Joy to this day, and that is why I go by my first and my middle name. That is not very common. Most people just go by their first names. So how do you know if a name is a first name or a last name or a family name? Well, in English, it's pretty easy to tell. If it's written down, it just goes from left to right. So Amy Joy Rovirosa is my first, middle, and last or family name. There is no punctuation and it just goes left to right. But if you see a name written down with a comma between the two names, then you know that the last name or the family name is being listed first, followed by the first name. So you will more often see this kind of like in a list, especially in a works cited page. So here you can see the example. All of the authors are listed by their last name first, followed by their first name, and you'll see that little comma in the middle. So something interesting I had to do recently was actually change my last name. I recently got married and I decided to change my last name to my husband's name. So my original name was Amy Joy Lashmet. When you were talking about a woman's original name before she got married, that actually has a vocab word. It is called a maiden name. So my maiden name was Lashmet, and now my new last name is Rovirosa. And in the US, I think it is still mostly common for the woman to take the man's last name when they get married, but over the years, it has become very common for a woman to not change her last name and just keep her last name. It has also become common to hyphenate your last name. So I could have been Amy Joy Lashmet Rovirosa, but that's a mouthful and that is way too hard to say. And then I've also seen some men taking their wives' last name for various reasons. So there's a lot of freedom when it comes to our names. All right, and before moving on, I want to remind you that if you have found this video helpful at all, make sure you like it, subscribe to my channel, and click that notification bell so that YouTube will notify you whenever I post a new video. Thank you. Now, if you are studying in the US and you want to know what to call your teacher, it is always better to start off more polite than casual. So to be polite, we usually use titles like professor or Mr. or Ms. plus the last name. The last name is more respectful. In the past, we used to use Miss for women who were unmarried and Mrs. for women who are married, but like I said, times are changing and we've kind of moved away from using those titles and we've kind of combined the female title to just be Ms. I have had students ask me what I prefer to be called, and I really appreciate that because it shows that they want to be respectful, but I just tell them to call me Amy or Amy Joy because I'm a cool teacher.
So not like a regular mom, I'm a cool mom.
No, because it is pretty common in the US for professors to go by their first name. I had a lot of professors in college tell me that I could call them by their first name, but if you're introducing yourself like in an email or you're talking to your instructor for the first time, it's much better to call them professor and their last name. Now, one thing I don't really want to tell you because I love when my students do it, but it is not quite correct. We do not go by teacher. I've had a lot of students call me teacher with no name or teacher Amy, and we actually don't say this. Oftentimes, little kids in like kindergarten will yell, teacher, teacher, and it's so cute. So to hear adults call me teacher, it kind of makes them sound like they're 5, and I always get a kick out of it. I always find it really funny, but we don't call our teachers teacher. So just so you know. Okay, and the last thing I want to talk to you about is the gender of certain names. In English, there's really no rule as to what makes a name a male or female name, and I will often see students say things like this. In Christine Johnson's chapter, he discusses several useful writing techniques. And as a reader, it is so distracting for me to see a female name with a male pronoun, but I understand why it happens. But if you are going to call someone by their pronoun, then it's really important you at least Google their name to make sure that you're using the right gender. Although it might not seem important to you, it is really important to your reader. Now, some names in English are considered unisex, which means they can either be a male name or a female name. And I just want to give you a list here of some common ones so that if you end up reading something by an author with this name, you know to double check if they are a male or a female. So some of these names include Devin, Jesse, Jamie, Kendall, Taylor, Tyler, Jordan, Morgan, and Sam. And Sam is short for either the female version of Samantha or Samuel, the male version. And my best friend in the whole world's name happens to be Sam. So, hi Sam, love you. So if you encounter any of these names and you need to use a pronoun for them, double check the pronoun of the person you are referring to. All right, well, I think that's everything you need to know about English names. I hope you found this video helpful. If so, make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel, and click that notification bell so that YouTube will notify you whenever I post a new video. All right, thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something new, and I will see you next time. Bye.